Hello and welcome. Thank you for having me here. It's my first time at Devox UK, so thank you very much. And I've got almost, more than half of the room packed, so it's great. Thank you for attending my talk. Anyways, so the talk is called From Flatland to Spaceland, and what does that mean? It's kind of a paraphrase from the book by Edwin Abbott from the 19th century called Flatland. Have you ever read that book? Anyone? No. So like two people. So it's about this flat world called Flatland where only 2D creatures live, like triangles, octagons, etc. And one day, that world is visited by a sphere, a creature from the three-dimensional world. And all those creatures from the 2D world are kind of surprised because they don't know who that person is, who that creature is, because all they see is an intersection of the sphere with this 2D world, right? So all they see is kind of a circle, basically. And that's a paraphrase to how I think, it's kind of my interpretation, to how we use computers and mobile devices since we got them, because all interactions we're doing with them is basically through the flat screen all the time since we got like first computers to tablets and smartphones that we have right now. All we do, even if we're interacting with 3D stuff, we still are interacting with 2D projections, the flat screens. And the thing is that this paradigm is changing. It's not maybe very dynamic, but it is. Like all the big companies are invested into it. And I think it's going to happen sooner or later that we will break through that glass and we will start using or interacting with the data that we gathered like they are like around us. A little bit about myself. I'm Rafał Legiędź. I'm from Poland. And you can find me on Twitter at Rafek. I'm a mixed reality solution architect at a company called Avenga. Also MVP from Microsoft in mixed reality. And I also organize a conference in Poland called DevConf. I keep doing lectures on VR, AR, metaverse, and around those topics since 2017. I think I've been to around 50 conferences since then, so it's kind of a lot, especially that we had like 2 years of break with the pandemic. But anyway, I talked to many software developers because most of those conferences were software development oriented and most of the people were software developers. And the thing is, to my surprise, that the experience with VR, AR, and the knowledge of what this and that is, what are the differences between the experiences is kind of still weak. Especially, that was surprising to me because, well, I was talking to tech-savvy people. I thought like everyone knows VR and AR already, but apparently it's not the case. So usually I do this one slide where I just explain basic concepts, AR, VR, and what are the differences. So let's start with VR. VR is this experience where you put the headset on, VR headset. You probably heard about them, like Oculus Quest, Rift, or HTC Vive, right? Is there a person who has never tried VR experience? Like never at all. So there are still some people, right? So it's not that obvious that everyone tried it. It's still not mainstream. Anyways, it's an experience where you are totally immersed into this artificial world. You can't see anything in your like real vicinity, and your mind is tricked into thinking that this artificial world is actually the real one, right? And you can see all those funny videos if you haven't experienced it by yourself on YouTube, where you can see people doing something in VR and then some like real person poking that person and people freaks out usually, right? And that proves that mind is really tricked into this artificial world. So that's VR, more or less. And then we have augmented reality, which is AR. And the difference is that in AR, we see our physical world. And then on top of that, what we see, we have all the rendered stuff, the digital stuff being rendered here and there, attached to the surfaces, etc. And we kind of have this feeling of depth, etc., that we kind of think that those things are real in our physical world. And we have two approaches here. We can use augmented reality experiences on our handheld devices like iPhones or Android phones. And basically, we see the camera stream on our screens. And then on top of that, a video stream, we have stuff rendered. And then on the other hand, what we could have headsets like HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens or Magic Leap. It's basically a headset that has like a pass-through display, meaning that it's basically transparent display where we see everything we can see normally, but on top of that we have holograms rendered here and there. Has any of you ever tried HoloLens or any kind of this-like device? Yeah, so it's like 3, maybe 4 people. So it's not mainstream at all as well. That's why I'm explaining this. Okay, and the thing is, that during my talks at many conferences, there are also people I keep meeting that keep saying, okay, well, VR is not anything new. I mean, we had some headsets 30 years ago. I tried it, and it's not it. I mean, it sucks. It's completely, I mean, it won't make it to the mainstream, but it was 30 years ago, right? Also, we did have Google, who released Google Glasses like 12 years ago. And then again, it was super hyped, but then it failed, right? And the thing is that the world moved forward and all the technology got better. And right now we have all the new wave of all kind of experiences and devices. So what I'm going to do in this talk is I'm going to show you that all the big companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and many others are fully invested in, maybe not fully, some of them are fully, but some less, but they're very invested into metaverse, VR, and AR. And I'm going to start with Facebook, which is, I think, the most exciting one. I mean, they're doing most of the stuff. So a long time ago, they acquired Oculus, the company who were like the leading manufacturer of a VR device, Oculus Rift. And then they released first Oculus Quest. Have you heard about this headset? Yeah, so this is, I think, the first VR headset which is cheap enough and good enough that made it to the mainstream, that the people actually know about it. And they iterated upon that. They released like a simple version of it. It wasn't like a high-top piece of device, but still was good. But then with the software updates, they kept updating it and kept updating it. And what they were doing with it, for example, I'm going to show you a video. So with just with the software update, that was a long time ago already, but still, it's pretty impressive. So the headset, it has 4 cameras in front of it, and then they unlocked with the software update hand tracking. So you basically could just put away your controllers and just use your hands. And of course, they unlocked the SDK possibilities for developers to use it. Also, they started experimenting with pass-through AR, meaning that the camera feed is being passed to the screens, and then it's black and white because that's experimental. That's what they were doing. But on top of that, there was this
oh my gosh.
surface detection, etc., so that you could start putting 3D stuff onto that video feed, and it was all like aligned with the physical world. And they kept pushing that, and then they started doing Infinite Office.
Desk in VR will be useful, as
where you could basically bring your table into the VR experience. It's actually right now unlocked within Quest software. You can bring your desk and sofa, so that when you're in your Quest, you can actually approach your sofa while still being in VR and sit on that sofa, because it will appear, the surface will appear, so you won't kill yourself, you know. And you can drink, you know, you can have a mug of coffee and you can drink it and just approach your table and put it on the table, because that table will appear. Just pretty exciting. So this project is, for example, called Infinite Office. So the aim is here to create Infinite Office so that you can set up your desk, whatever you like, and be in your headset with as many screens as you like. And this is the newest addition to my set of videos, because that's from yesterday. Mark Zuckerberg shown the newest project they're working on, which is called Project Cambria. It's supposed to be Oculus Quest 3 or 2 Pro, whatever they would name it. But what they did is they moved with the video feed. They colored it. And they unlocked VR/AR experiences within that headset. Meaning, this is AR experience wearing something like Oculus Quest, right? You can touch all the physical stuff and you can see it in colors. Then you can have 3D stuff on top of it. And then you can switch to VR mode.
This improves the experience, whether you're playing a quick game or working for a longer time while wearing the headset. We here at Meta are empowering developers to build experiences like these because they're a crucial part of our journey towards building the metaverse, where people can connect, create, share, explore, get things done, and ultimately,
have fun.
Yep. And it's not called Facebook anymore. They call themselves Meta. And I think they did it for a reason. They're not hiding anymore that they're working on the metaverse, VR and AR related stuff. Anyway, that was Facebook/Meta. Another big company that is invested into VR, AR is Microsoft. And what they did, they released in 2016 HoloLens 1. Then a couple of years later, HoloLens 2, which is a wonderful piece of device. It's a holographic headset with transparent displays. You put it on your head. It's an independent computer. You don't have to tether it to any other machine. And it just it runs Windows 10, and you just run your apps, and you can have like 3D stuff around you, and you can interact with them. And the thing is that it's not new. If you look at the history, Microsoft is invested into that since Kinect. Do you remember Kinect for Xbox? Yeah, that's old and it doesn't exist anymore. But it started with Kinect, the first version, then the second version. Then there was Kinect for Azure. I don't know if it's still a product that they sell. But then we had HoloLens 1 and HoloLens 2. So that journey it's already like more than 12 years. So it's not like those are very new gadgets. And just to show you a glimpse of experience, how it looks like on HoloLens, I have this short video demo of MRTK. MRTK is Mixed Reality Toolkit, and it's a toolkit, open source toolkit from Microsoft that you can use to quickly develop mixed reality applications. And actually, what you can do, you don't have to own HoloLens to start developing, because there are like fine emulators out there, and you can just get this and try develop stuff by your own. And on top of that, MRTK and Unity, which you develop this software with, is also cross-platform. So you can develop this kind of applications, but test it on your iOS or Android devices, which is cool because you don't have to invest lots of money into HoloLens headset, which is like $3,500. So as you can see, like the real vicinity of the user is the real world, and then on top of that, we have some other stuff rendered. And this is an enterprise-grade piece of hardware, meaning that companies that would like to invest in AR, they can trust this device, meaning like it has all their certification, you can use it in the factory floors, it's compatible with white hat hats, and there's like a support from Microsoft for this. And in my opinion, it's, well, in my world where I work and the clients I work with, is the most common headset. There are actually companies that are buying HoloLenses in bulk so that we can develop software for them and to support their line of work business. And my hint here is, as I said, I mean, if you have an idea within the company you work for example, for this kind of stuff, you can just start developing proof of concepts and run it on your phones, for example, then just show it to the decision makers or stakeholders or whatever, or peers, and then discuss it. You don't have to invest all the money in the super expensive hardware. Cool thing it has is eye tracking. So basically it tracks your eyes and you can scroll stuff with your eyes and select stuff with your eyes, push buttons with your eyes. Okay. Next big company is Apple. Apple doesn't have any kind of headset yet. There are, of course, rumors that they will release something. But there are other signs that they're into it as well. Have you ever played with any AR experience on iPhones, tablets? No. So, well, they have AR Kit, which is the development kit for creating augmented reality experiences for iOS, meaning iPads and iPhones. And it has a great set of features. It has like surface detection, body tracking. It has ambient lights and shadows and physics. And, well, you see the short video. Also, they have some other set of tools like Reality Composer, which helps you creating all those augmented reality experiences. So all those pieces put together, and hardware-wise, what they did with iPhones and iPads actually, where they put LiDAR sensor for super good depth sensing. All those pieces mean something that it all goes into the direction that sooner or later we would have all that packed in some kind of glasses or something. Yeah, short video of that. Cool thing they did is, as you can see here, the chess, the black chess in front of that woman, it's a digital thing rendered, and it occludes a real person, and then real person can occlude that digital content. And it's kind of obvious in real life, but in this technology, it's not that obvious, and it was quite an achievement to do that. Because then it adds immersion, that those things are really, really real.
The man smiles as he lifts his right hand to the sky, his left hand extended down.
And this is all available right now. You can just download it, use Xcode, and implement stuff like that. Here you can see like real table and then digital stuff rendered on top of it, and you have all the physics, ambient lighting, and shadows, so that you can actually feel like what's real and what's not, right?
The robot's head spins.
Then Google, they, as I mentioned before, they tried with AR a long time ago, 12 years ago, with Google Glasses, which apparently failed for a reason. I mean, there's an interesting thought I had recently, because do you remember all the hype, and then there was this term glass hole, like for a person that was wearing glasses because he might or she might record you, right? Because there was this camera and you didn't know if you are recorded or being recorded or not. But then, if you think about it, it was 2010. Not many of us had smartphones and like super fast internet, etc. And right now, we have TikToks and all that other stuff, and you never know where you're being recorded and when you end up in the internet, right? I mean, we kind of got used to it somehow, right? And that wasn't the case 12 years ago, and then all of a sudden someone had the camera here and everyone freaked out. And right now, you never know when you're on the sidewalk and someone is recording you, right? It's quite I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying it's interesting how the society, changed, and our feelings about those kind of things. Anyways, so they released Google Glass. It failed. That was okay. It was too early. Then right now what they have is basically a very similar thing to what Apple has. It means it's kit. It's a kit. It's called AR Core, and you can create similar stuff that what you can do for Apple devices, but for Android devices. But yet another newest addition to my presentation from yesterday, because apparently Google had a keynote. And what they highlighted were the glasses. Have you seen that yesterday?
My mother speaks Mandarin, and I speak English. which is a strange thing.
So basically, they integrated Google Translate into glasses so that you can have your real world transcribed.
I'd love to be able to share with you a new prototype we've been working on. You should be seeing what I'm saying, just transcribed for you in real time, kind of like subtitles for the world.
What we're working on is technology that enables us to break down language barriers, taking years of research in Google Translate and bringing that to glasses.
You see me? Oh, sí, sí te veo. Oh,
I'm actually looking straight into your eyes, and it seems like you're looking right at me.
oh, sí, sí, estoy viendo lo que estás diciendo para ayudarte.
Making access to information just instant and intuitive. By doing that, technology fades into the background, and we're more connected with the people and the things around us. Giving people the gift of communicating with anyone, no matter what language they speak, I think is a really powerful thing.
Que tengo que dialogar con muchas personas que solamente hablan inglés. Como magia para mí, porque voy a ver cosas que voy a entender lo que ellos dicen por completo y
可以互相沟通。我爱你。
So yeah, that's from yesterday. Okay, I think there's one thing I forgot to show you. Oh no, that's later. Okay. And well, and also there's like a bunch of other companies, smaller, bigger, and startups here and there. They keep investing into developing some kind of headset. Some of those headsets are like very specialized. Some of them are like next HoloLens killer, like Magic Leap, for example. So this is the video from I think like a month ago. Thing is that I'm doing this presentation since before the pandemic, and I have to keep updating it because every like second month there are like new devices, new technologies coming in. So this is Magic Leap, second iteration. It's with the first iteration, it was actually a little bit better than the first HoloLens. Then they disappeared, and then they appeared again with the new headset they just announced. So as you can see, and we're talking here about the first version of it was released in 2018. So it's like 4 years difference, and then we have this actually cool looking glasses. And their design approach is so that they do not put the computing unit in the glasses, so that they're more lightweight, but you have this cable and the computing unit you can put in your pocket or somewhere. And this is a holographic device, so you can see everything you see in the real world and then holograms on top of it. So it's not some kind of gimmick, right? It's not like there's one startup somewhere in San Francisco creating some kind of magical glasses and maybe it will fail or not. As we can see, all the big tech companies are really into it, so that I think means something, and I think we as the developers, we have a good opportunity right now to start leveraging it. So if we are interested in it, we can actually start poking around and looking what's possible and then talking with our businesses we work for and trying out new stuff. It's actually how I started in 2017, just playing with HoloLenses and then talking to people, and bam, all of a sudden, like fast forward 5 years, and I already created several mixed reality projects for smaller and bigger companies. So it is possible. And I keep encouraging to do that during conferences. And also, some companies think even further. I'm not saying it's a good thing or bad thing, or it's there or it's going to be on the market in 5 years or something like that. I'm just showing it that there are people that are actually doing this, which is pretty fun and interesting. So apparently there's a company called MojoLens, and they started creating contact lenses for augmented reality.
But in surrounding ourselves with screens and devices, it feels as though we've lost something. Imagine if we could replace our screens with something that informs without distraction.
And you know, it has all you need, like screen, motion sensors, batteries, everything on your eye.
Connecting crucial moments, providing vital information in an instant.
And imagine switching from AR to VR experience by simply closing your eyes.
Put MojoLens on in the morning, and throughout your day, you'll have access to timely information without losing focus on the world around you. MojoLens is designed not to bombard you with data, but to elevate your vision by providing the information you need exactly when it's needed, all while letting you look
so
like
the
yourself.
prototype they have
When
right
it's not in
now
use,
is
the technology
only
just fades
capable
away.
of displaying green color, so everything you see is in green.
Mojo's
But,
invisible
well, that
computing
doesn't mean
solution
anything.
will be
It's
a
a
platform
concept.
for
Well,
everyday
first Google Glasses,
and an
they also
invisible
displayed on one
day.
color. Like
Before it does any
the
of
UI
that,
was in one
first
color,
has
and
to
then
be
you
great
could just
contact lens.
display
Influence
simple
your natural
photos, and
vision
that's
to
it, right?
close
You can
off.
text you
Mojo
can
Lens
read your
built-in
text
display
messages
will
or
give you
some
augmented
guide
reality
navigation,
wherever
and
you
that's
are.
it.
It even works with your eyes closed, putting you into an instant VR world.
So basically, we have the similar thing right now,
Nearly
12 years
limitless,
later, but in
from being
contact
able to see
lenses.
in the dark or low light situations, to augmenting your memory with instant information, showing you real-time translations. or
Sounds
giving
like
you
another
a
episode of Black Mirror,
One
right?
of our first medical applications is using AR overlays like edge detection.
This time it's real.
Enhancements to help people with vision impairments such as glaucoma and macular degeneration.
Building the world's first AR contact lens is a systems engineering problem, and therefore we've had to innovate in many different areas. The Mojo lens includes thin film, biosafe batteries to power the system, as well as motion sensors to enable the world's most accurate eye tracking. We've also developed an extremely low-power image sensor that's used for computer vision and scene detection. But at the heart of
And
the
apparently
Mojo
it's
lens
safe
is
to
the
wear
world's
this on your eye,
smallest
so-
and densest dynamic display. With this, we can display crisp text, photos, and video in a package that's less than 0.5 millimeter in diameter. We are often asked, how do you control Mojo Lens? And the answer is with your eyes. It turns out that your eye is an extremely accurate pointing device. With our built-in eye tracking in each lens, we believe we've unlocked the ultimate hands-free user interface.
Okay, and also the other short video about Mojo Lens. Quick history.
If you look at Mojo
So
Vision's
that
timeline,
you know it's not like
this
something
lens is the
new.
next in an
It actually
iterative
happened a long
process.
time ago. I mean, not
This
that long time ago,
lens
5 years ago,
design,
and
according to them,
well, it's an
does have
iterative
a
process.
motion
Right? So they
tracking
keep working.
capabilities.
It's not
It
some
also
kind of a
has
startup that
tiny
started something and they
batteries,
disappeared, but
like the type that are in pacemakers.
they're doing
A
something.
little array of them.
Okay, what's next? And then this very interesting slide telling that, I mean, I don't matter the numbers, but kind of the important thing is the division of the market, where when it comes to VR and AR market, video games and video entertainment, it's all kind of obvious. We all know VR games and 360 videos, etc. So that's kind of a given that money is there. But what's changed since several years right now is that the enterprise market, they started to understand this piece of technology, and there are more and more companies that they want to implement their own solution and integrate it in their line of work business, right? And you name it when it comes to the industry, healthcare, manufacturing, engineering, real estate, every single industry would benefit from those kind of devices. From my experience, for example, I sit only in the manufacturing. So basically, we're equipping service people within factories with headsets and applications on those headsets, so that whenever they approach a piece of equipment, they could have the instructions rendered on top of that equipment instead of just going with a book or printed PDFs. They could have instructions on top of the real equipment, which leaves their hands free and they can work with that. So think about it. And that's it when it comes to devices and big companies. And now the super brief history of computing. To put things into perspective, of course. So when it comes to digital transformations, what happened was, the first one was when we got personal computers. So that's when people started to digitalize stuff. Well, we gained access to computers, so we started putting things into those computers and saved those things onto hard drives. And that was first digital transformation. The second digital transformation was when we got GUIs and the internet. So all of a sudden, the computers were more friendly, more accessible, more and more people could use it, and then we could save things into the internet. We could create websites and visit them. Then, the third digital transformation, which most probably all of you remember times before social media and smartphones and after, right? And I think we all agree that that changed a lot in our behaviors and how we begin our days, how we work, everything, right? It's hard to think right now how it looked like in 2006, for example, right? It was weird. We were using old Nokias and with no internet, right? Playing snakes. But right now, the third digital transformation has already happened, and it's with social media and the smartphones. And, well, things broke loose, right? I mean, like, there are millions of applications that were developed, and they support every single area of our life, right? We're generating millions, billions, or gazillions terabytes of data or whatever every single day, and it all goes to the cloud. So that was the third digital transformation. And then some people think, and they name it fourth digital transformation, which is happening right now, slowly but steady, with all the technologies like edge computing, VR, AR, wearables, blockchain, cloud, IoT, 5G, AI. You probably are familiar with all the buzzwords right now. But they have something in common, and some people think that it's the beginning of this fourth digital transformation, so that the computing platform that we're going to use every single day is changing. Do you remember times we were using laptops, and then we switched to handhelds, right? There are more people, I think there are more people right now that are using tablets or iPhones to scroll the internet in the evening on the sofa than having a laptop on their lap and scrolling the internet, right? So that might shift again with all the technologies. But to make that happen, we do have one missing piece when it comes to these AR and VR experiences. And because all those experiences, they feel like the internet in the 90s, meaning that we had access to the internet, but we weren't able to do much in there. Well, we could set up some simple website, which was not very interactive or attractive. I mean, they were attractive with all the funny GIFs and stuff and colors, right? But it was a different way of being attractive. We couldn't do much. We couldn't collaborate. We couldn't create content, etc. But right now, with Web 2.0 and whatever happened after Web 2.0, the internet is all for us. It's about social media, creating content, videos, photos, texts, and talking with other people, meeting them on Facebook and other social media, right? It's not quite possible in VR and AR. But what those big companies are doing as well, on top of everything I just said, is that they're trying to create this and fill that gap so that we have the complete environment for creating large-scale VR and AR applications. And that's where metaverse, mirror world, AR cloud, spatial web, digital twin, you name it, because there are several names for that, comes into play. You probably heard about metaverse because that's all the internet is all about right now after Facebook changed the name, right? From Facebook to Meta, which is short for metaverse. And what I'm trying to do here is to explain that it's not all about what Facebook is doing, because they kind of stole this name and some people think that it's their invention or something like that, but it's a larger concept. So the term itself, metaverse, it's old. It's from the book, Neil Stephenson's book, Snow Crash. Does anyone know that book? One person. So it's not a new concept, right? It's like from the 70s or something like that, or even earlier. But it is the concept that we're kind of trying to implement right now. So there are several approaches to the metaverse thing, depending on the kind of device that we're using. It might be VR, and for VR or ARs. And so what Facebook is doing mainly right now, or Meta, is the metaverse that is something like, have you watched or read Ready Player One? So you might be familiar with the concept. Totally artificial world where we could, like large-scale world, basically a kind of a planet, where we can join with our VR headset and just live there. Like go there to school, go there to work, right? Like I can put my headset on and basically sit on my sofa and go to school, where I would be with my friends as the avatars, and they would be at their homes, and then we would have a teacher next to the whiteboard, and that teacher would be at home as well, and we would be all in the classrooms as avatars. So that's what Facebook is working on, and that's called Horizon, which is divided into 3 products: Horizon World, Horizon Workrooms, and Horizon Home. Horizon Workroom, for example, is aimed at companies so that you could have meetings, like Teams meetings, but in a virtual room with the VR headsets, and you can have like presentations there, etc. So instead of like sitting in front of your computer and looking at camera feeds and the presentation there, you can sit as avatars next to the table in the virtual room and just meet like that. And this is one concept of the metaverse-like thing. The other, which is more interesting in my opinion and challenging, is for the AR experiences. So it's usually called like spatial web or AR cloud or digital twin of our world. So basically the aim here is to create a digital twin of our world so that we have this common map of the world in the cloud or somewhere, so that whenever I'm using, for example, AR experience and I'm here in this room or outside the venue, and I would put something like digital thing in front of the venue, some other party that would join my experience, he or she would see the very same thing on that sidewalk or whatever, wherever I would put it, and we would be able to interact with that 3D content together, right? And it would be all saved so that we can join that experience later on. Yeah, another term for the metaverse is spatial web. So spatial web is what World Wide Web was, websites linked together. So right now, for the spatial web, we would like to connect everything together. And with all the data that we are generating every single second right now, it's more and more possible. And right now, I'm going to skim through all the big companies that I mentioned before that were creating the hardware, and I will show you what are they doing when it comes to approach to metaverse thing for AR. So Facebook, I mentioned they're doing Horizon, which is Ready Player One thing, but before pandemic, I think it was 2019, they released a video of, I'm not sure if they're working on it right now, but I just wanted to show that video because they mentioned that on the keynote that they're working on something called Project Aria, and that's for scanning the world basically and registering a digital twin of our world in the cloud, so that we could attach digital things on top of that digital twin and then have both things living together.
Allowing the maps to recognize when things
Not sure what's happening with that project now. But during the very same keynote, they shown that they created some kind of a prototype of glasses for Project Aria, and that was not for sale. That was only an internal product that they gave away to their workers, and it didn't have displays. It was only packed with sensors for gathering data and building that digital twin of the world. Another company is Microsoft. Microsoft has, well, you're all familiar with Azure, of course, but one of the services on Azure is Azure Spatial Anchors. And this piece of technology allows us to, so if I would be using an AR experience or device, and I would designate that spot on the table, for example, and I would put a thing, a digital thing onto that, the application I would be using and the SDK from Microsoft, based on that point, would create a map of feature points around and create this kind of, this is the real place and that's the map that will be created from that place. So it's kind of secure thing. You can't reverse engineer from that point cloud to real place. But it would create this kind of point cloud and would upload it to the Azure, I guess. And then when another party would join my experience and scan the same area around that point, right? The SDK would automatically try to match whatever it sees with the point cloud in the cloud, and if it would find it, that person would get the very same point I designated first, so that we would have a common coordinate system, right? And then whatever is there, it would be the same for that person, and we would have aligned words, right? Because we are just aligned our coordinate systems. And that's how we unlock collaboration within AR. And this is a real product. You can actually go to Azure and just start using it in your AR experience. I have 9 minutes left. I have to speed up, I guess. It looks like this, more or less. And it's cross-platform. So you can use iPad and AR experience on the iPad and create and designate a point, place something, save it, and then personal HoloLens could join, and bam, the whole thing is recreated, right? And it works indoors and outdoors, etc. It has its quirks and shortcomings because, well, imagine like two identical rooms, like completely identical rooms, 100%, right? If I would designate one point in one room, and that other person would come to the other room that would be fully identical, but in the next room, well, it would freak out because, well, I mean, it's not magic. It actually has to have some feature points that are different than anything around, right? But imagine like creating a city game with that. You can designate some points within the city and then leave some 3D content for the players, and the players could play it. And whenever someone approaches that point, something would render in front of that person, right? Next thing, well, it's Apple, and technology they have is called location anchors, and it's a very similar thing to what I've just shown you with Microsoft, but they limited that use of this service to just several big cities in the world, like London and several cities in the United States. But it unlocks basically very similar things. You can look and attach some things in real places. And then Google also has something called cloud anchors, very similar to what I've just shown. But the very interesting thing here when it comes to Google is that I think they're the closest ones, the ones that are the closest to having a digital twin of the world because, well, we have Street View. And they have, well, I guess, lots of pictures of every single place on the planet, well, except those countries that do not allow for that. But they do, right? So if you go to Street View or 3D view of the cities, that's basically a digital twin. And what proves this is that, have you ever tried Google Maps with the AR view? Anyone? It's not like maybe very handy, but it shows that this technology works. Because what Google did is they kind of fixed the GPS with that. Also, you can see on the Google Maps that if the accuracy is too low, it especially happens in like big cities or where are lots of streets near to each other, like London, for example. And you have where your dot is, you have this label like low accuracy. When you click your point, then it asks you to just take your phone and see the surroundings, because based on that, it matches whatever it sees with the cloud where the street view data is, and then it's more accurate than GPS, because GPS is what? Like several meters accurate. But when it comes to VPS, which is visual positioning system based on the pictures and the feature points, it's even more accurate. And that also unlocks, in the future, I guess, possibilities to attach stuff in the real world. Like, that's how Google Maps Street View with AR mode looks like. It's basically, you can go like this, and you will have arrows and signs displayed. That's on the phone. Then imagine putting that on the glasses, right? That would be a totally different thing. And then whenever you approach some kind of a restaurant, well, they have all the data in Google Maps, right? Like the rating, the menus, etc. So you can approach the restaurant and without going to your phone and checking, okay, so what's the rating, what's on the menu right now, etc. You can just go through the streets and that's it, right? And they've shown an interesting thing here because, well, with all the data from Street View, we know where the buildings are, so it's easy to achieve the occlusion, right? So the building can occlude things, digital things. 4 minutes left, okay. I'll make it. I can actually show you another video. Microsoft has preview of the project called Microsoft Mesh. This is a very marketing video, so it's not like this on the video, but it's very good anyways. It runs on HoloLens or Oculus Quest, I think. It's for collaboration in AR. So you can work and then some avatar of your friend can join you. Within AR, you would have the avatar of your friends and can do stuff together.
Great things happen.
It's pretty amazing. Kind of black magic for me.
Let's take a closer look at it.
Place this here. Let's see how we go from there, okay?
This sense of collaboration and the feelings of connection.
And also, well, you can join with tablets if you don't have like HoloLens for everyone.
I'm gonna move it slightly, okay?
It's yours, take it.
We have 2 planes right now on the same trajectory.
As we put people first, technology fades into the background and feels like anything
There
but.
used to be an app for HoloLens. Someone did, like, they were getting data from flight radar and rendering piece of land and all the planes in 3D that were actually flying there. It's pretty fun to watch and play with.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. What's next? And then, well, that's also a kind of a new addition. When there's NVIDIA also with like huge computing powers, and I'm not going to go here into details, but at one of their keynotes, the CEO was explaining what they're doing when it comes to metaverse, and they called it the Omniverse. Omniverse for digital twin. So we have like 2 buzzwords in there, and what they're trying to do is, as I said before, they're trying to connect everything. They're trying to connect physical world with digital twin, with the internet, and then have all the AI and physics stuff, and then they want to have their own piece of softwares with the engineers working on the 3D assets, and that would be reflected in real time in the digital twin. It's mind-blowing. I don't understand it, but I just wanted to show you. And also there's like a bunch of startups that are trying to approach this and playing with the technologies. Some of them are already acquired by the big companies. And well, that's pretty much it. So that's up to us. I mean, the technology I've just described through the session is available. So you can start playing with it right now. Maybe we don't have like small glasses that are mainstream and everyone could use your piece of software, but at least we can learn and create proof of concepts right now. Actually, the thing that I forgot to mention is that Facebook also experiments with real glasses. Not sure if you saw Ray-Ban Stories, the glasses that Facebook released with Ray-Ban. So they look like regular Ray-Ban Wayfarer or whatever they're called, but they have the camera and the speakers. They don't have displays, but what they're doing, they're experimenting with real glasses manufacturers so that they They kind of have to get used to, small factor. But what you can do with those glasses is basically record Facebook stories or Instagram stories and then upload it directly to Instagram or Facebook. So that's pretty interesting. OK, time's up, but I have like 3 slides. One is the books that inspired me the most to create this kind of talk. Highly recommend if you're interested to dig more into it. And then there's a slide where I usually ask for questions, and I would provide answers if I would know the answer. So, but if there are no questions, then thank you very much. I will shoot a selfie with you, if I might, because that's a pretty packed room. Smile. Thank you.